Another game week and more controversy from this game week, as we always expect with Premier Leagues now. First controversy, starting the game week off, which seems to just be a regular occurrence now, starting the game week off with bad reffing. We look at the Chelsea versus Fulham game, with King's goal being disallowed for potential foul, and anyone who says that this was the correct call and this should have been overturned and things like that is just a Chelsea supporter. That's what it is. Because this was an incorrect call. There's no reason for VAR to intervene here at all. This is not a major error or a red card offense or anything like that. This is one of those instances where VAR should just not intervene. There's not a big enough foul here or a foul at all for this to be overturned. The fact that Howard Webb has phoned Fulham and done what he always does and told them that it was incorrect call, and he makes his apologies, which doesn't help. 0-0, go up 1-0 against Chelsea. Maybe they get a draw out of it. Maybe they win. Who knows? Getting a phone call after a game doesn't really help or benefit you at all. This, to me, doesn't fall on the ref. This is not a ref's fault. This is VAR's fault. VAR calling the ref over kind of gives him an obligation to change his call here. Because he's watching this and he's seeing the still images now, and he's been called over by VAR. VAR's telling him, we think you've done an error. He now thinks there's an error, so he's going to have to overturn it. We've got this controversy. Now we move on to the same game with more supposed controversy, which is probably just been built up because of this controversy. The handball. Anyone who says that this isn't a handball is definitely wrong. And it's just because somewhere down the line, the last 5 years, they've had a handball. It was not given, or the ball was blocked like this and it wasn't given, or it was given. This is a blatant handball. He's made himself look bigger. He's jumping up, his arms in a non-natural position. This is a handball and a penalty. Where the controversy for me comes in is there a foul in the build-up? First off, on Alex Iwobi, I think it's Alex Iwobi or it's Bassi. No, it has to be Alex Iwobi. There is no foul there. They win the ball fairly, they get the entire ball. We then look at the potential handball by João Pedro. Not a handball. Natural position for him. He's just tried to control the ball and land it. He's about 30 centimeters, maybe a meter away from the ball when it's kicked at him. Can't move your hand out the way quick enough. Never a handball. Where there's debate now is in terms of them fighting for the ball. Was there a push by João Pedro that would cause Fulham to not win the ball? When you look at this in real time, João Pedro does not put both hands on his back and push him. He's putting his arms on his shoulder, trying to stop him from jumping, fighting and contesting for this ball. Never a foul. You can't give a foul here because then you'll be giving fouls just all over the field. And there'll be so many fouls and corner kicks and that. You can't, because it's a corner kick, you can't now suddenly give them more leniency with holding each other's shoulders and pushing than when it's an open play like this. Because then that just contradicts itself entirely. If João Pedro puts both hands on the Fulham play and pushes, then for me it's a definite foul and you can't give the penalty because this was awarded first. This was all just built up having King's goal disallowed. None of this penalty would have been questioned or said, oh, it's not a penalty, if that foul wasn't given against Joshua King. Now moving on to the next game with some form of controversy, we look at Burnley's game versus Manchester United. There is slight controversy, which was given as a penalty and then overturned. I believe this was overturned legitimately, and it definitely wasn't a foul. This is shoulder to shoulder, strength on strength, both fighting for the ball. Kyle Walker is stronger than Mason Mount in this position. I don't see any foul here. I think overturning the penalty here was the absolute correct decision, and I'm glad they had the balls to actually change this from a penalty. With all the controversy that happened the game before, I'm glad that the ref was still in the correct mindset and said, I'm going to go for the correct call and listen to VAR and check it. The next controversy in this game, which again, somewhat controversial. This is a penalty. I don't like Man United, but this is a penalty. This is stupid defense. He's let the player just run in between him and and the other defender and get into a good position. So now he has to do something, and he's hoping he can pull him outside the box. Gets into the box, still pulling, goes down. Definite penalty. I can understand fans being upset about this because it's so late in the game and you give a stupid pen like this, but it is a pen nonetheless. Last controversy, which just carries over from Chelsea vs Fulham, so it's not really controversy, it's just proof that VAR did the wrong call. The VAR officials have dropped the VAR who overturned Joshua King's goal from Liverpool versus Arsenal's game. Now let's just take a quick look at some results and remove from controversy. There's going to be some more controversy in a couple other games, but we can't look at every single one every single time, just the main controversies. Big games that I definitely got wrong and didn't see coming. Spurs versus Bournemouth. Did not expect Bournemouth to win this game. I think I was unfair to Bournemouth. Because strong team Bournemouth. Even with players being sold in that, it's still a very strong team. And Spurs are on their build-up. They're getting built still. So I was pushing them a bit too far, saying, oh, they're going to just keep winning and really be contenders this season. Whereas they're only in their building phase. Thomas Frank will learn a lot from this game. And then one of the games that I got so wrong in my prediction, Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Everton. I said it was going to be a ball draw because neither team were willing to lose. Boy, was I wrong. Neither team was willing to lose by scoring more goals, not by defending a point. They both wanted to win this game. That was a very good game. Jack Grealish, as I said last week, one of my hot takes, Jack Grealish will be the reason Everton stay up and make mid-table. Then we look at the Brighton versus Manchester City game. Manchester City really looked like a shadow of their former selves, really. And boy, oh boy, do they play terrible football at the moment. It's generally like watching paint dry. It's so boring now. I know it's always been a more precise and boring style of play, but now it's even worse. It's horrible to watch. And Brighton, to me, deserved winners probably in the grand scheme of things. And the last game to discuss really is Liverpool versus Arsenal, and I am a Liverpool fan, just to get that out there so people know. There's no bias here. That was, for me, the worst match I watched this weekend. I generally would have been more entertaining cutting my nails than watching that game. It was like watching paint drying and then painting second coat and watching that fucking dry as well. It was that boring. That game, Liverpool winning, undeservedly so. That game should have ended as a draw with no goals. Neither team wanted to lose. But what we did learn from this is Liverpool are definitely tied to contenders this season, even with all the defensive hiccups they've achieved. Definitely tied to contenders, definitely got the same mentality. And these are the types of games where this is why Arsenal this is why Arsenal don't get the Premier League title. They don't win. There's games like this where they really need to push out and get a win. Not quite able to do it. And then those points build up. That's my take on these weekend's games. Hope you had a good weekend. I'll see you in the next video.